Monday, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today so far. Hope you had a good weekend. Let me move my microphone because I forgot to. Okay. So, hope you had a good weekend. Didn't do anything. Had a good week at work. Really am enjoying my new job. I absolutely love it, even though I haven't really done anything other than sit in a classroom and get trained on everything that we do. We have taken 2 tests. I made 100 on the first and a 96 on the second one. So doing pretty well there. We have another test on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we go out to on-the-job training where I'm actually going to start taking phone calls. So a little nervous, really excited. Made a lot of new friends so far. I really like the other 4 people in my training class. They're really great people. And, our trainer Alex and Erica, I really like them a lot. Everybody's just so super nice. But I have struck up a really decent friendship with David, who's also in my training class. We all get along in there, all of us, but I don't know, we hang out on our breaks and at lunch and everything. He's just a really funny guy. He's really nice. So, it's just, I don't know, I look forward to going to work and I enjoy it. So I'm really excited and I cannot wait to actually get out of training and start working. But they were looking for people to work on Labor Day, and since I don't really do anything on Labor Day, I sent an email back and I was like, I know I'm still in training, but I'm going to have 2 full weeks of on-the-job training, and if y'all will allow me, I will work. And I could do the 11:30 to 8 p.m. shift because it's later in the evening, not to mention a holiday on top of that. Maybe it won't be as busy, and so for someone who's just starting, that might be a good shift for me to work. If y'all will let me do it, I would gladly do it. And that's double time and a half pay. So I would definitely do it. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll let me. All right. So let's get into this. Our daily promise says, "Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." Matthew 5:12. "Truly the child of faith should rejoice in his persecution, for in it he shall find union with Christ. Oh, what beautiful, grim mystery that we, the church, should find our identity in the death of Christ, and by being found in his death we shall likewise be found in his resurrection. Rejoice and live." Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening over this past week, and also I want to say, before I get into what I was going to talk about, I didn't post a video last Thursday. I wasn't feeling well. I had a sinus infection, and I just was not feeling good. So I didn't post at part 3 to the Marilyn Manson lawsuit videos that I've been posting. So I will be doing that next week, though, and we'll try and get caught up. Just want to let y'all know it is coming, and there was a reason why I didn't do it. Okay, first of all, I saw a video from Mr. Reagan yesterday, and he was talking about a new movie for Warner Brothers, but it has been shelved. Like, it's completely ready to release. I mean, you could release it now into the theaters, but they shelved it. And I don't know if anybody else knew, because I didn't until I saw this video yesterday, that there was a new Batgirl movie that was supposed to be released. I had no idea. But this is from Breitbart, and it says, "Woke scandal blows up after Warner Brothers shelves $70 million Batgirl. Minority talent are not pawns." Actually, I heard it was 90 million, not 70. But it says, this is by Paul Boy. Is it Boyce? I don't know. A backlash is spreading like wildfire on social media after Warner Brothers announced it would be shelving the nearly completed Batgirl movie, a production that would have featured DC's first trans character, reportedly refusing to release it in theaters or on HBO Max. As part of its recent merger with Discovery, Warner Brothers announced on Tuesday that the $90 million Batgirl will not be flying into theaters anytime soon and will not be sold to a streaming service. According to Warner Brothers Picture spokesperson, the shocking and unprecedented decision stems from the company's quote-unquote strategic shift in the DC universe. The studio also shelved a Scooby-Doo movie. So it says, quote, the decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to the DC universe and HBO Max. Leslie Grace is an incredibly talented actor, and this decision is not a reflection of her performance. We are incredibly grateful to the filmmakers of Batgirl and Scoob, Holiday Haunt, and their respective casts, and we hope to collaborate with everyone again in the near future. End quote. So Batgirl had originally been designed for an HBO Max release, but the budget reportedly swelled past $90 million due to coronavirus restrictions during the pandemic. Though it had entered post-production, Warner Brothers decided it was not worthy of a theatrical run. Insiders told The Wrap that the studio heads ultimately believed the film did not work. So they said, quote, the new owners and management, led by CEO David Zaslav, are committed to making DC titles big theatrical event films, and Batgirl isn't that. Insiders added that studio brass loves the film's directors and star and are actively planning to work with them soon. So similar to the Snyder Cut phenomenon that led to the re-release of Justice League, a steady backlash has been brewing online, which has been even more amplified by the fact that Batgirl star Leslie Grace checks a big representation box as Latina American. So I'm not going to read all this, but apparently there's like, she's Latina. There's a trans character in it. A lot of diversity hires to make the movie. But it would seem that when they did a test screening of this movie, it was not received well at all. Nobody liked it. They just absolutely did not like the movie. And so the CEO, Zaslav, he decided to shelve it and not release it, which was probably a smart idea. You may take some backlash for not releasing it, but I think it would be even worse if you did, truly. So I thought that was interesting, but it does have me wondering what it's like. I would like to see like a trailer for it. That would be great, because I just want to see how badly they screwed up the movie, but I'm sure they truly did. Okay, so moving on. Continuing down this Hollywood type of thing, celebrities. From Louder with Crowder, apparently Britney Spears is being accused of racism after a lengthy Instagram post. I don't think that Britney Spears is racist. However, I do think maybe she has some mental illness going on. So maybe whatever she said in this Instagram post, you could chalk it up to she's just very unstable mentally. So this is by Joseph Gunderson. Well, after breaking free of a conservatorship, Britney Spears isn't exactly doing herself any favors. And while I don't think being able to make certain decisions for her would have helped in this case, someone should have told her that social media isn't the place to air grievances, especially if while you're doing so, you're going to write something that can be construed as racist. And since nearly everything can be construed as racist if someone looks hard enough or does enough mental gymnastics these days, let's just say people aren't being kind to my childhood crush. So, in a now deleted Instagram post, reports XXL, Britney Spears went on a lengthy tirade that started just fine. It quickly began to spiral after she started writing about how her kids don't visit enough and may start visiting less, a decision they were supposedly making on their own. And if I'm being serious, if my mother was posting a bunch of naked pictures of herself online, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable being anywhere near her. That's just me, though. To justify why they should spend more time with her and less with Daddy K-Fed, though, she brought up his propensity for smoking weed, and that's where it took a turn. Quote, I can guarantee you that house has more weed than Ludacris, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and Puff Daddy combined. I don't necessarily think that was a racist comment. I mean, some of them have been known to talk about it, so I'm not sure. But let's pull up here on Twitter. We can see the Instagram post. Let's just read it. Just another day here in my new adorable neighborhood I live in. It's honestly really cool. I take my dogs to this tiny park and I see how incredibly smart my baby dogs are. They actually sense that we are in a new place at the park and they absolutely love it. Daisy literally runs around with her mouth open, but the little white puffball tried to run away the first time, so I keep them close. I haven't really shown my house yet because it's hard to completely embrace it. Yes, it's beautiful, but I miss my other house for some reason. It's hard for me to let go of things I truly love. Like my kids, the situation should have 100% been dealt with privately and definitely not online, while she's continuing to bring it online. A British network claimed that their stepmom's goal is to keep the children away from all of the controversy and trauma in my home. I have love in my home and I have blessings from the people I allow in and out of my home. I looked forward to seeing my kids every week. It was 2 days a week, but I asked him to ask to stay for more days, maybe 3 days. But then the next week they stayed for only 1 day. Yeah, I know that teenagers are just hard to deal with at that age, but come on. There's being rude, then there's being hateful. They would visit me, walk in the door, go straight to their room and lock the door. The monitor would tell me that he just likes to be in his room. I'm like, why come visit me if you don't even visit me? But I never said that because I have to be kind. Remember, if I speak up as a woman or say something argumentative like I did with a dance move saying no to it, I got sent to that place for 4 months. So do I dare speak up and show my upward thoughts of being a real woman and possibly offend the person in front of my face? No, I take it and I keep my mouth shut. It registers right in the core of my stomach. It hurts and I want to scream. Man, my throat, I gotta clear it. I want to shake their shoulders and say, wake up, I'm here too. The teenage age is weird. I don't know what's going on in their heads. We would always do prayer time. Not really prayer time, that sounds silly, but it's called devotion, where you read 2 or 3 pages in a prayer book and talk about it. I always tried, and maybe that's why they stopped coming here. I wanted them to love me so much that I might have overdone it. This summer, they told me, we may come here less, and I was like, that's fine. I called their dad, and I told him that it seems like the boys are wanting to stop coming here as much, which I get because they have their own thing going on, but I feel like they are being pretty harsh. His words were, I would never let them make that decision on their own. I would never do that to you. Well, after that, I haven't seen them since. I will say, though, as available as I had to be for 8 people a day when my dad took me out of my home for 4 months, it's been kind of nice not having to ask about which day the boys are coming this week and making me wait 2 or 3 days for a reply. But again, it's just another way for my family to make me feel like absolutely nothing. We will let you know, Ma. When can we see you? So as much of you watch what he refers to his family as the perfect Brady Bunch family, I can guarantee you that house has more weed than Ludacris, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and Puff Daddy combined. He wants to bring up my past with that bald-headed face Kaplan and circle back to that hard time in my life. That was almost 20 years ago. Their game doesn't work anymore. In those years of the conservatorship, I had to become a saint with the pain I had to endure by keeping my mouth shut in my stomach as they literally took my womanhood away from me. I made up for past mistakes and more in that time. My sister does it. She speaks up in her household and corrects people. But how come whenever I did it, it was considered a threat? Oh, he might have to get involved with this one, but if he did, he would say, sit down, we need to talk. First thing was always, nobody likes you. Then the rest of it was, I guess due to whatever I said. It was basically, how dare I say something to offend others and make them think for a change. Anyways, I know it's all worded out, but you know what? I talk about it because my heart doesn't understand cruelty. It breaks my heart because it seems to me that these days, Cruelty does in fact win, although it's not about winning or losing. But I can't process how I dedicated 20 years of my life to those kids. Everything was about them. For them to knock the breath out of me. See, you can't fix me. No therapy or sense of worship can fix my heart. I will forever have trauma, and I know this. I've accepted it. It would take a miracle to fix my heart, and not one miracle, maybe 3. Either way, I have a beautiful pool, a supportive husband, and 5 dogs. Okay, I'm much, but that's how I love. Have a good day. That's a weird way to end off with that. My kids don't want to come see me, but, you know, it's okay. I have a beautiful pool and a husband and 5 dogs. I don't even know how you would respond to that because, you know, and I'm not saying everything is her fault, but a lot of it is of her own making. And I'm pretty sure if, like they said, you know, my mom was posting her naked pictures all online. I mean, that's embarrassing. Even if you have a really good looking mom, even if people are attracted to her, and you know, it's still embarrassing as a teenage boy to know that your mom does that. And I don't know. And we don't know it's because someone's saying bad things about her to the boys. You don't know if that's the reason why, or because they're older, they understand more than when they were younger. You know, kids aren't stupid, and they pick up on certain things, and sometimes they just don't want to be around all that. And I don't know. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be a part of that family with everything that has happened. With the conservatorship and the drama and the fighting and the sister against sister and all. I couldn't imagine being a part of that family and then it all taking part in the public eye. So, I don't know. But, I don't think you should force kids to be somewhere they don't want to be. I think you can try to encourage them, but if they don't want to go, they don't want to go. And you should never make a kid do something they don't want to do. So continuing on with the article, it says, "Oh, you did it now, girly." Social media users didn't take kindly to the fact that she made reference to 4 black men as examples of prolific weed smokers. Hashtag Britney Spears is racist AF for saying all black people do drugs. The narcissistic piece of trash needs to know the consequences of her actions. Another one said, Britney Spears, by naming members of the black community to compare that they smoke pot to her ex and not in a positive way, is racist rhetoric. Ooh, hit her baby one more time. Britney Spears may be as racist as her racist family with that little quote. I think y'all get the gist. She, of course, didn't say all black people do drugs, nor was her comment racist. Poorly chosen, maybe, at least in this day and age, but it wasn't racist. There were some people with brains enough to defend the middle-aged pop icon, like Hammer Mock. So about this whole Britney Spears is a racist thing. Ludacris wrote a hit about his favorite strain. 50 Cent owns several weed companies. Jay-Z has his own strain of weed. Puff Daddy owns several weed companies. Seems like associating them with a lot of weed is what they want. Those two make far better cases in Spears' defense than all the people accusing her of racism. Look, I just think it's funny to watch celebrities get raked over the coals by the culture they have helped to create. And while Spears may not have done as much as, say, Lizzo or Beyonce to produce the popular leftist culture, she didn't help any. So, I'll laugh at it. Okay. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't racist. People just need to stop being babies. Truly. Okay. Let's talk about this. This is Daily Wire by Katie Jerkovic, and it's Kirk Cameron. I haven't really heard much from him lately, but he's talking about a movie called Life Mark, and it proves why life should be defended at all costs. Kirk Cameron opened up about his new film Life Mark, how his new film Life Mark came to be, saying it's a story about life and the message that adoption can be a compassionate, beautiful solution to a very difficult problem in our culture today. The 51-year-old actor spoke to the Daily Wire Thursday about his new film that touches on pro-life and pro-choice issues and said it provides proof that, quote, the power of one choice impacts more than just one life, end quote. A description of the movie reads, David's comfortable world is turned upside down when his birth mother unexpectedly reaches out to him, longing to meet the 18-year-old son she's only held once. With the encouragement of his adoptive parents, David embarks on a journey of discovery that leads to a staggering truth from his past. It stars Cameron, Rebecca Rogers Nelson, Raphael, is it Ruggiero? I don't know, Ruggiero, Don Long, Justin Sterner, Marissa Hampton, and Alex Kendrick. Y'all know I'm not good with names. Both Cameron and Kendrick act in the movie and are executive producers on the film. It comes just months after the U.S. Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade as a result of the decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. The ruling recognizes that there is no constitutional right to an abortion and returns the issue to the states. The Fireproof star, which, by the way, that's a very good movie, told us that one thing a lot of people might not know is they started making the movie 2.5 years ago, but the pandemic delayed things. Quote, we had no idea that the timing of the release of this film, which was delayed by COVID, would be so unbelievable with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. People talk about pro-life, pro-choice, but they forget about the adoption option. It seems that we're divided almost by design over everything imaginable, from politics to race to gender to vaccination status, and most recently over this issue of life and abortion. We need a way to look at this issue through the lens of love. Love for the birth mom, love for the unborn baby, love for the adoptive parents who are longing to have a baby. And LifeMark shows a compassionate, beautiful solution to a very difficult problem in our culture today. Cameron explained that the movie came to be after he watched a link sent to him of a little documentary detailing the real-life story of David Scotton, which was the basis for the film. It's called I Lived on Parker Avenue. He said it touched him personally because it was about adoption, something he and his wife, Chelsea Noble, are very familiar with after they adopted the first 4 of their 6 kids. Not because they couldn't have children, he explained, but because they wanted to and thought it was a beautiful way to have a family. Cameron said his wife and 4 children were one doctor appointment away from not being here. Kirk added that if his wife hadn't been born, then neither would their 2 natural-born kids. And, quote, and you saw the movie, you saw the power of one choice. The growing pain stars shared. And when a woman chooses adoption, she has no idea what's going to happen. But what can happen is the answers to the prayer of that couple who couldn't have kids, and this amazing life of this young man. Kirk talked about how this film is pro-family, pro-reconciliation, pro-forgiveness, and so much more. He said he hopes the movie not only provides the adoption option as a solution to the difficult culture problem that we're continuing to fight about, but that more families will be formed when people get comfortable and excited about the beauty of adoption. That's love, that's grace, and God makes families in incredible ways. Cameron said he hopes another thing people came away with from the film is that abortion, even though it's often, quote, framed as a woman's issue, end quote, and that men need to stay out of it, that couldn't be further from the truth. He noted a statistic that shows women who have abortions say the number one influential person in their life to help her make the decision is the father of the child. There's men who are carrying around all of these thoughts and emotions, guilt and shame and pain, and all this because they know that they are long-lasting emotional effects to abortion. And I'm hoping that people will watch this movie, regardless of whether they are pro-life or pro-choice, and it leaves them with the message of life is precious. Forgiveness is available, reconciliation and new beginnings are possible, and we don't need to fight over a difficult unplanned pregnancy. We just need to come together. Later, he reiterated that what he hopes people come away with after watching this film is that one choice affects so many more people than 1 or 2 people. Quote, I want people to come away saying, you know what, life is a gift from God. It's precious, and it should be protected and celebrated and defended at all costs. And the adoption option is a beautiful third choice in the midst of the pro-life, pro-choice debate. That one life given a chance to live impacts countless people. Your parents, your siblings, the biological mom and dad, the grandparents, and the best friend. And who knows who that person could grow up and cure cancer, could be the next president of the United States. LifeMark hits theaters September 9th. It will run in movie theaters for at least a week and will go longer as audience demand grows. A move Kirk said that Fathom has never tried. So, that sounds like a good movie. I just thought I'd share that. If you want to go see a new movie on September 9th, I'll probably wait. I won't go to any theaters to go see a movie, but that does sound really good. Okay, let's talk about this here. This is from the Tatum Report by Steve Pomper. There is an ATF inspector who was caught illegally copying thousands of gun stores' customer records. I saw this on Instagram yesterday, so I thought I'd look at it. On the heels of a video showing ATF agents contacting a legal Delaware gun owner at his home about recent legal gun purchases, comes a story out of Mesa, Arizona, where a gun dealer caught an ATF inspector copying gun records with her personal cell phone. According to Faye Higbee at Conservative Firing Line, Black Metal Firearms tangled with an ATF inspector late last year who was caught illegally copying gun records with her personal cell phone. 4,000 gun records. Was she attempting to create a gun registry? She also recommended Black Metal Firearms lose their FFL. Attempts to get the ATF to respond have been met with no comment. Owner David Nagel described a revealing exchange with ATF Inspector Pamela Scott. She told Nagel a lot of his customers were gun nuts. When Nagel said he prefers gun enthusiasts, Scott reiterated she prefers gun nuts. When Scott asked Nagel why his records were not computerized, Nagel said he wouldn't trust her with computerized records. No kidding. Despite finding only a few minor clerical errors, no missing guns, and no suspicious activity, Scott said she would still recommend the ATF pull his FFL. Nagel quipped that he didn't sell guns to the cartels as the ATF did, and she treated us like drug dealers. Nagel said revocations of FFLs are up 500% under the Biden regime. He said Biden has directed the ATF to focus on rogue gun dealers who've made minor clerical errors to put them out of business. He believes the ATF is out of control and that the Biden regime apparently will do anything, including breaking the law, to accomplish their task, which is ultimately banning firearms. Joe Biden canned the acting ATF director, Regina Lombardo, who was friendly to gun dealers, and appointed anti-gun Stephen M. Dettelbach. Higbee added, now the agency is weaponized to its fullest, just like the DOJ, FBI, IRS, etc. ad infinitum. Glenn Beck just interviewed Nagel, who provides more details about the ATF inspector targeting his livelihood. Some states, like Missouri, are fighting back with legislation outlawing certain federal laws related to firearms that infringe on the people's Second Amendment rights. So speaking of, wanting to weaponize the DOJ and everything, we know, talking about the FBI and raiding President Trump's home, first thing we're going to look at, because they released it. So first thing I want to look at is from Louder with Crowder. I like to read over their show notes when they talk about things to kind of try to explain things. So we know that they raided his Mar-a-Lago home, and that he released a statement saying, these are dark times for our nation, as my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by the radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run in 2024. So what we know, what we did know prior, and we're going to see what differences have changed from what we knew before the release and what we know now. So the warrant that the FBI agents obtained from a federal magistrate judge in West Palm Beach, the West Palm Beach location of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida, has 3 magistrates, Bruce Reinhart, William Matthewman, and Ryan McCabe. An August 5th warrant application assigned to Reinhart. Note, Reinhart quit his job as U.S. Attorney to defend Jeffrey Epstein and his clients in 2008. Plenty of Americans took to the streets in Palm Beach to support Trump. And according to the Washington Post, quote, a person familiar with the investigation who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss its details said agents were conducting a court-authorized search as they probed the potential mishandling of classified documents that were shipped to Mar-a-Lago. So reportedly, the Justice Department has been investigating the potential mishandling of classified material after, quote, the National Archives and Records Administration said it had retrieved from Mar-a-Lago 15 boxes of records containing classified information earlier this year. However, investigators were allegedly aware of documents in Trump's possession and just told them to be secured better. Of course, the court would need probable cause to issue a warrant, and Senate Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is calling for receipts. I've seen enough. The Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicians. Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. And then he also said, why would McCarthy not trust Garland's motives? It's not like Dems have ever weaponized power to attack political opponents. Oh, yes, they have. So, what FBI is not doing. Dr. Larry Nassar, the FBI agents provided inaccurate or incomplete information to investigators, and this is the coach who sexually abused dozens of Olympic athletes. Hunter Biden, tax violations, illegal firearm purchase, solicitation, drugs, corruption, silent there. Ashley Biden, the diary that they raided James O'Keefe's home for. Eric Swalwell, who had relations with a Chinese spy. Paul Pelosi with his insider trading, Epstein's black book clients, and not a single person has been brought in. Governor Cuomo for his, what is it? How do you say that? Geronicide. And also Governor Whitmer, and I'm assuming that's from all the elderly people they killed in the old folks' homes. So what FBI is doing. In 2003, the FBI's questionable involvement in the Herald Square bombing plot. 2010, Barack Obama's IRS targeted conservative groups affiliated with the Tea Party movement. 2016, Obama's FBI conducted FISA surveillance on the Trump campaign. 2016, the propagation of the fake Steele dossier in the Trump-Russia hoax. 2020, undercover FBI agents tricked Michigan men into a conspiracy to kidnap Whitmer. April 2021, FBI raided Rudy Giuliani's apartment and seized cell phones and computers. He has still not been charged with a crime. October 2021, A.G. Garland directed authorities to target angry parents at school board meetings and calling them terrorists. November 2021, the FBI agents raided James O'Keefe's apartment, handcuffed him in the hallway and seized 2 cell phones. He wasn't ever charged with a crime. November 2021, FBI whistleblower reveals the Bureau is investigating parents as domestic terrorists. January 2022, former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe likened mainstream conservatives to terrorists and called for them to be surveilled. April 2022, the now defunct Misinformation Board led by Nina Jankowicz. August 2022, or the Dems' new spending bill that will use the IRS to target the middle class. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The raid on Mar-a-Lago is the latest evidence the left is hell-bent on tyranny and shutting up anyone who doesn't agree. Governor DeSantis summed it up well, tweeting, "The raid of Mal is another escalation in the weaponization of federal agencies against the regime's political opponents, while people like Hunter Biden get treated with kid gloves. Now the regime is getting another 87,000 IRS agents to wield against its adversaries, Banana Republic." So, that's all of that. Now, the FBI search warrant was released, and then Trump responds with that. This is from the Daily Wire by Ryan Saavedra. Oh, man, I'm terrible with names. Okay. So, the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on Friday unsealed the warrant and receipts of items taken from the residence after Trump's legal said that it did not oppose releasing the information. The warrant authorized investigators to seize, quote, all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items legally possessed in violation of 18 U.S.C. 793-2071, including, quote, any physical documents with classification markings, along with any containers, boxes, including any other contents, in which such documents are located, as well as any other containers, boxes that are collectively stored or found together with the aforementioned documents and container boxes, end quote. The warrant authorized the seizure of, quote, information, including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified material. The warrant authorized agents to take any official government records from when Trump was president and any evidence of, quote, the knowing alteration, destruction, or concealment of any government and or presidential records or of any documents with classification markings. Trump responded on social media by claiming that all the material was declassified and that agents didn't need to seize anything. He said they could have had it any time they wanted without playing politics and breaking into Mar-a-Lago. It was secured in storage with an additional lock put on as per their request. They could have had it any time they wanted, and that includes long ago. All they had to do was ask. The bigger problem is, what are they going to do with the 33 million pages of documents, many of which are classified, that President Obama took to Chicago? And that's something, apparently the National Archives responded to that, by the way. So let's see if we can find something. So this is the National Archives rejects Trump's claim that Obama took 33 million pages of classified documents. The agency said, in accordance with the Presidential Records Act, Obama's unclassified presidential records are in a facility they control in Chicago, while the classified Obama records are in a secure facility in the Washington, D.C. area. Obama has no control over them, the agency said. As required by the PRA, former President Barack Obama has no control over where and how NARA stores the presidential records of his administration. President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages, that's what Trump said. Trump mentioned Obama in multiple Truth Social posts on Thursday that asked what happened to the millions of pages of documents he said Obama took. The National Archives in Chicago is a depository for federal records and has a research room where a visitor can request to see records, according to its website. The archives has facilities across the country. Obama can request digital copies of his unclassified records for his presidential library, but he would have to pay for them as the records are the property of the federal government. So that's what they're saying. They're saying that's not true, that didn't happen. So, speaking of the 87,000 new IRS agents, from the Tatum report by Eric Butler, there is an analysis that has been shown that the middle-class Americans will be the target of IRS audits under the inflation bill. So the IRS is set to hire 87,000 new agents as part of the Democrats' so-called Inflation Reduction Act. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said there won't be any new audits of people making less than $400,000 per year. Over 99% of Americans earn less than $400,000 annually, and as of May 2022, the IRS reported having just around 6,500 auditors. However, the Biden admin claims that these 87,000 extra agents would only be used to audit the top 1% with no impact on regular Americans. Despite the claims of the White House, data suggests middle-class Americans will be targeted by the new audits. Fox Business reported that an analysis from House Republicans showed that, quote, Americans who earn less than $75,000 per year are slated to receive 60% of the additional tax audits, end quote. About 3/4 of Americans live on that yearly income, which includes the lower class and a sizable portion of the middle class. In his report, Fox Business's Thomas Catanacci explained that, quote, overall, the IRS would conduct more than 1.2 million more annual audits of Americans' tax returns, and that people making less than $75,000 annually will be subject to more audits than those making more than $1 million. The Inflation Reduction Act would nearly double the IRS's existing budget by allocating an extra $79 billion to the agency over the next decade to strengthen tax enforcement, which is estimated to boost revenue by $124 billion. IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig stated that audit rates will not increase compared to previous years in response to complaints over the predicted increase in tax audits under the bill. During his campaign, Biden promised not to raise taxes on anyone earning less than $400,000 annually. His admin has since committed that the Democrats' plan won't lead to more audits of these individuals. Both of these promises are broken by the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which raises taxes on middle-class Americans and more than doubles the number of IRS agents tasked with collecting their money. I do know that Janet Yellen supposedly came out and said for the IRS to not target middle Americans. Yellen, as a result, has written a letter to the IRS commissioner pleading with the agency not to go after Americans earning $400,000 or less annually. Quote, specifically, I direct that any additional resources shall not be used to increase the share of small business or households below the $400,000 threshold that are audited relative to historical levels. So even she knows that that's what their intentions are. Now, whether this is just an act to say, oh, well, I tried, I told them not to do it. Probably. Who knows? I also wanted to mention here this is also from Breitbart, the IRS job listing for the new 87,000 agents. Special agents must carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force. As a special agent, you will combine your accounting skills with law enforcement skills to investigate financial crimes. Special agents are duly sworn law enforcement officers who are trained to, quote-unquote, follow the money. No matter what the source, all income earned, both legal and illegal, has the potential of becoming involved in crimes which fall within the investigative jurisdiction of the IRS criminal investigation. Because of the expertise required to conduct these complex financial investigations, IRS special agents are considered the premier financial investigators for the federal government. It goes on to describe special agent major duties, which include, quote, carrying a firearm and being willing to use deadly force if necessary, be willing and able to participate in arrest, execution of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments. Breitbart News reported on June 19th, Representative Matt Gaetz' concerns over the IRS's purchase of approximately $700,000 of ammunition between March and June 1st of this year. Gaetz said, quote, there's concern that this is part of a broader effort to have an entity in the federal government buy up ammo to reduce the amount of ammunition that is in supply, while at the same time making it harder to produce ammo. On August 3rd, Breitbart News pointed to a tweet by Rep. Lauren Boebert in which she echoed Gaetz' concern over the ammo purchases. The Internal Revenue Service bought nearly $700,000 in ammunition earlier this year, which begs the questions, why do their agents need guns to do their job, and who are the IRS arming their agents against? On February 10th, 2013, 2 months into Barack Obama's second term as president, Breitbart News noted the Department of Homeland Security's stockpile of over 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition. At the time, documents indicated DHS had 1.6 billion rounds stockpiled as of spring 2012 and had recently ordered over 20 million rounds more. Many of the rounds purchased by DHS were a 9mm and 40 cal, both of which were extremely popular rounds with civilian gun owners at the time, leading some to believe the DHS ammo buy contributed to civilian market shortages. When Rep. Gaetz commented on this year's approximately 700,000 ammunition purchased by the IRS, he hinted at a scenario where federal entities buy up ammo and put citizens in a place where the exercise of the Second Amendment is limited due to the inability to get ammunition. Gaetz painted a dire scenario where the government reduces ammunition production and, on the other hand, soaks up the supply of it. And so it does beg the question, why do IRS agents need to carry weapons? And why would they need to use deadly force? What kind of crimes are they working that they would need that? But when that was mentioned, there was mention of what the IRS is allowed to do. This section provides in part that a special agent is authorized to execute and serve search warrants and arrest warrants, to serve subpoenas and summonses issued under authority of the United States, to make arrest without warrant for any offense against the United States relating to the Internal Revenue laws that is committed in his or her presence, or for any felony cognizable under such laws if he/she has reasonable grounds to believe that the person to be arrested has committed or is committing any such felony, and to make seizures of property subject to forfeiture under the Internal Revenue laws. So, there you go. 9.1.2.4. They have the right to arrest people without an arrest warrant. Period. Anyway, so that's what we're coming to. An actual banana republic. So I'm going to leave that here. I just wanted to kind of take a look at really the most talked about thing that's been going on. I think they know that their time is coming to an end in November, and they are doing anything and everything they can to keep Trump from being able to rerun in 2024, because I think they know that there is no possible way that they're going to win, and that there's going to be such an enthusiasm gap of voting for Trump or voting for Biden that it's going to be so overwhelming that they wouldn't even be allowed to cheat or rig it in their favor. It would be almost impossible, I think. So they are doing their very best. And actually, there's Mr. Reagan has a good video on what he thinks this is actually about, why the FBI actually raided Trump's home and what they are trying to do behind it. However, Glenn Beck has also made some statements, and he thinks that they would even be willing to kill Trump if they can't get him this way or that they'd be willing to kill him. I wouldn't put it past them. I think they are stupid enough to do something like that, which would be a major... It would cause a major problem if they were that stupid. But I do think they're that stupid. So, well, we'll see. Hopefully in November, just things can start getting better. Hopefully. So, we'll see. Don't forget to go out and vote. Anyway, don't forget, you can go to my Rumble and subscribe there and watch my videos there. That'd be great. And YouTube, go like and subscribe there. Hit the notification bell. Share my videos out. My link tree is in the description box to get to my social media accounts. But like I said, I'm most active on Twitter. So if you want to talk to me, that's where you're going to find me. And yeah, just go subscribe, like and share my videos. That would be great. Thank you to everybody who has been subscribing. I've gotten a few new subscribers on YouTube, so I appreciate that. And be back here on Thursday if you want to see part 3 of the Marilyn Manson lawsuit videos. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, and God bless.